I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Congress is taking up a significant legislative agenda over the next month. They will attempt to pass an American competitiveness bill, aid for Ukraine, and COVID funding. Negotiations on the bills are ongoing and will likely all hinge on support from moderate Democrats and Republicans. Take a listen as the White House previews the legislative session.
I have a few. Senator Tim Kaine said yesterday that the competitiveness bill, COVID funding, and Ukraine aid are three big tasks ahead of us in May. That's a pretty tall legislative order for a 4-week time period. What is the president doing specifically to get those legislative priorities across the finish line this month?
He's going to Alabama tomorrow, that I previewed at the top of the briefing, to make the case in these remarks about how vital it is to move this legislation forward. And he and his team, we have been engaged already for the last several days in calls and outreach and engagement, conveying how important it is to move these pieces of legislation forward. And certainly they are all priorities that have a great deal of urgency. And I know at the top of the briefing, tomorrow is an opportunity not just to talk about the supplemental package, but also to talk about the Bipartisan Innovation Act and how important it is to ensure we have access to semiconductors so we can continue to support not only the defense industry, but other industries across the country.
Mainly referring to the 4-week time period to get all three of those things done, and whether or not the White House thinks that that's likely that you can do it all.
I'm not here to set a timeline, but I have repeated many times, and the president has conveyed the urgency of moving all of these pieces of legislation forward. I think you've seen over the weekend comments from a number of senators about that as well, echoing that point about the urgency of moving the supplemental package forward. The House is, of course, out this week. The Senate is not. They can move, and hopefully next week we'll see more activity on the House side.
On student debt, how did the